I promise you, this is 100% not sarcastic. I'm not sarcastic when I'm telling you this is not sarcastic. AI will definitely not take your job. This is the title of my talk. It's black and white and this weird format because of aesthetics. Definitely, I wasn't lazy to mess with slides and themes. It's aesthetic and vibes, all right? About me. I work for a popular AI company. I have an AI course, I have an AI book, and an AI boilerplate starter. I'm kidding about all of this, because it would be super weird and I would lose a lot of credibility if I actually was trying to sell you an AI because I have AI products. About me, I have no affiliation with AI whatsoever, and I have nothing AI related to basically sell you. I have some credibility, though. So before ChatGPT and Copilot, whatever, I loved, like, whatever presentation I was giving on stage, I always had a small part about AI. Hey guys, like 5 years ago, we even started. Hey guys, this AI thing might actually be big in the future. It might take your jobs. It was growing and growing and growing until I realized, you know what, I might as well do an entire talk about this instead of just keeping it in a segment. And second of all, there was like GPT-3 when it came out. There was no chatbots, there was no ChatGPT, there was no grifters on Twitter, there was no people literally have AI in their username right now on Twitter. So everyone is riding the hype, but way before the hype, I wrote an article 4 years ago called GPT-3 is the beginning of the end. And you can read the article, but it's mostly my talk in an article form. So I told you so, eventually one day will be super sweet. What I'm actually working on, they're not AI products. I'm bad at marketing, so instead of actually showing you what this product does, I actually took a screenshot of the landing page and just threw it here last minute. So Benji is my main thing that I'm working on right now. It's a life OS that combines like to-dos, planner, calendar, events, habits, meals, hydration, and a bunch of other features that I don't want to read to you. So if you want to organize your life, Benji is the tool to do so. It's benji.so. And the startup that I've been running for 5 years is called Sizzy. I always want to torture myself by asking who here is using Sizzy in the audience? Hey, he worked for Sizzy before, so it doesn't count. All right, perfect. Yeah, again, no screenshot, but the aim of Sizzy is not to replace your actual browser. It is you keep whatever browser you use. I use Arc, Vivaldi, whatever for browsing, and then when you're actually developing websites, you switch to a specialized tool which gives you responsive thingies and a bunch of other tools that will help you develop websites faster. Enough marketing. Let's start the talk. There's a lot. Oh. Okay, so I have a couple of empty slides just in case OpenAI decided to release something right now. It's very hard to prepare a talk like this because like every second you open Twitter and there's something new. So I'm just going to quickly check and all right, nothing new, nothing new, nothing new. But I'll keep these slides in case they release something until I go to the next conference. So let's do a quick vibe check of the audience. A lot of speakers make you do jumping jacks and squats and things to warm up. I'm not going to make you do that. Please stop making people do that. Can't. I will only make you raise your hand, and that's it. So, quick vibe check. Raise your hand if you're using ChatGPT or Claude for coding help. All right, not bad. Raise your hand if you're using GitHub Copilot or Super Maven as your glorified autocomplete. What about only Super Maven? Who's using Super Maven? All right, as I assume. Raise your hand if you're using Cursor as your main editor. Now, this is a tricky one. Half raised hand? No one? One hand there, all right. And raise your hand if you think that AI is overrated. All right, yes, perfect audience, let's go. So person in the back right there, if you can help me just stand up just for a second. It's a quick test, it's not even a question. Right there, yeah, you raise your hand, right? Just a quick test. Left to right, top to bottom, is it a chihuahua or is it a muffin? Go. See, do you see the confusion? Now I can do 3 more tests with 3 different people, but I don't want to be one of those speakers who will torture you. Because you can see people in the back, he's like, is that a dog? It looks kind of like a bagel, right? So I was including this in my previous talk, and Zico sitting here, the giant donut, was like, bro, you just picked the one example that AI is not good at. And literally, like a few weeks later, they released like GPT Vision, which can perfectly identify dogs, bagels, whatever, as like humans are struggling with like, yeah, I don't know, it looks like a mop, maybe it's a dog. So, let's go back. Before we talk about the future, let's just talk quickly about like a quick revision of human history. We had the agricultural, so hard to say, revolution, which is the shift, get it, from hunting and gathering to farming, leading to a development of civilizations. Nice. Next up, we have industrial revolution, transition to new manufacturing processes leading to urbanization and modern economies. Great. Scientific revolution, emergence of modern science through developments in mathematics, physics, astronomy, biology, and chemistry. All of these were written by ChatGPT, by the way. And finally, we have digital and information revolution, the rise of computers, the internet, digital technologies reshaping how we communicate, how we work and live. The good news for all of you and all of your jobs is we're done. That's it. No more revolutions, right? Everything is going to stay the same forever. More proof. History, you know the famous saying, history never repeats itself. So basically, whatever happened, happened. It's never going to happen again. For example, we had this pandemic like years ago. It was called influenza. Maybe you know it. It was super scary back in the day, but now we cured it and we just call it the flu, like it's something cute. I just have the flu. The good thing, nothing like that will ever happen again. Influenza was back in the day. COVID. Yeah. More history, jobs that don't exist anymore. This was a job back in the day. This was the Joe Rogan of their time, right? He would read to a bunch of factory workers to not be bored, and he would be reading the newspaper or a book, and he felt like a podcaster and like Joe Rogan, basically. This job was replaced by an app icon. How sad it is to have your entire job and existence replaced by just a simple app icon. Next, we have an elevator operator. He was just pressing levers and thingies to make an app, like an elevator go up and down. He was replaced by us pressing the buttons. Next, we have a chandler. That's the wrong slide. Made and sold candles to be used for lighting. Simply replaced by whatever, light bulbs. Lamplighter, this was a thing. It's blowing my mind. Like, people were going around just lighting lamps around the city. Now there's probably just someone lazy just doing like beep, and all the city lights just turn on. This is a funny one. It sounds like knocker up is someone who's just going around. Like, it's not what it sounds like. They had a giant stick, and they were basically going, knocking on windows to wake up people before alarm clocks were a thing. Like, they would come at your place at 7:30, and you would be like, snooze, and throw a rock at them, and he would just knock again. Also replaced by a simple app icon. We have more of these jobs. Switchboard operator, just replaced by that. We have a computer. Did you know that this was actually a profession? I didn't know the word computer is an actual profession. A person good at mathematics, whatever. They employed them basically everywhere. And they could have still had a job on the iPad, but the iPad also recently released this, so they're not that useful anymore. Linotype operator, they were printing press thingies like newspapers and stuff. They couldn't make a mistake. There was no backspace on that thing. Super stressful job, now just replaced by this. We had a book peddler who was just going around carrying a bunch of books, going door to door, trying to sell all of these books to people, replaced by this douchebag right now. Next, we had a town crier basically doing public announcements. He was going around the city with a bell and being like, hey, this is what's new. Now, basically, the town criers are on Twitter, and the bigger town crier, we have them right here. And we have this super secure job that will last forever, super irreplaceable, fetches JSON and paints rectangle in our special Redux Saga Tailwind thingy ways, right? This will stay the same forever. We'll have giant mechanical keyboards. You will toy with your setups. Getting paid $300K for companies basically forever, so you don't worry about that. Do you know what's the difference? All of these jobs, literally all of them, didn't see it coming. So that factory lecturer was walking into a factory one day about to read, and he's like, my throat hurts today, I have to read a goddamn fucking newspaper all day. And he listens, what is that? What is that music? Oh, a radio? What the fuck? Oh, there goes my job. But he had no warning. We are littered with warnings. This entire conference is a freaking warning. Go look at the schedule. 99% of the talks are like AI, 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 AI. Go on Twitter. Everything is AI. So we have all the warnings, but we're still so like just cocky and chill. We're like, nah, still write Redux, right? Forever. So let's look at AI Advanced. Like, I'm trying to have so many convincing points, even though I know it's not going to work. But I'm still going to try, right? AI Advanced, it can drive a car. That's where I should end this talk. Be like, hey guys, it mastered a skill that most people in the Balkan area cannot freaking master. That's it. It's over for us, right? But no, like you see these videos on Twitter. I haven't rode in a Waymo, but you see people going to San Francisco actually taking driverless trips, which is scary. You see no person around the steering wheel. But when I think about it, is it like more scary than actually an Uber driver with like 5? They used to have one phone, right? Now they have 5. He's watching a football game, he's texting his wife, he's calling his girlfriend, like doing 5 things at once. So I think Waymo is safer, even though, don't worry, it's gonna be a long time. Here's a parking lot full of Waymos honking at each other because their algorithm got stuck or whatever. So we'll get there. They have Tesla FSD, which is controversial because people think like, oh, it's still years away, but it's actually, if you go on YouTube and search for Tesla FSD, full self-driving, it's in production, it's in USA, and you can find clips of people driving for like 2 hours from one city to another with zero interactions and actually not touching the wheel, and it's mind-blowingly good. We have video generation, which is reaching new levels. So we went from this wasn't in 1994. This was last year, literally. We're just cackling at this like, ha ha ha, maybe they cracked image generation, but they'll never do video, right? And yesterday I just searched for AI movie trailer, and people do stuff like this. This is some indie kid somewhere in, I don't know, in Singapore or whatever, with no production budget, no Hollywood stars, whatever, just generating a perfect trailer for a movie. And you can see where it's going. Like from a trailer, it's gonna be a little bit more. Eventually, it's gonna be full movies just made by people in their bedroom, which is like, we're taking all of this for granted like it should happen, but you can go write prompts and create this. It's freaking crazy. Image generation. Like when image generation started, like when we started like years ago trying to do image generation, the first attempt looked like this. Look at that dog Lisa on the right side. It looks like my dog found the wrong muffins. Like it looks horrible, but we tried, right? Suddenly, a few years later, we cracked like the right way to do image generation. And for example, Midjourney, one of the models, went from V1, 2022, to last year. Just look at all the changes in image generation in AI. And there's even version 6, which is even crazier. But I don't want to make you that depressed, so I just skip that one. On the left, we have like Crack Sparrow. On the right, we have actual Jack Sparrow. Like the progress has been crazy. Still not impressed. Music generation. I don't have many examples here. There are like tools like Suno and whatever that can generate entire songs with lyrics and everything for you. But what I find most impressive is you can go and listen to any popular song, but sang by another person. Like if you don't like the new singer of Linkin Park, you can just go on YouTube and search for new Linkin Park song, Chester. Boom, you find a song sang by the guy who's freaking dead. They're simulating his voice. It's crazy. Still not impressed. New ChatGPT voices. Literally the movie Her. It might have seemed like a demo, but it's deployed, and a bunch of users can use these new voices, which can cackle, laugh, cry, talk faster, talk slower, make nursery rhymes, rhyme, like all sorts of things. And we're still not entertained. Like, I don't know what else to show you here. I show you like a billion examples, and we're still not entertained. And I think I know why. Devs are scared for a reason. The reason is a mortgage. No, I'm kidding, but a lot of us have mortgages. It's one of the reasons. We have many reasons. We hate learning new things. At this point, like, give me a freaking break, right? Every year, you got to learn a new framework, you got to learn a new thing, you got to rewrite it, you have team meetings. It's very freaking annoying. Second of all, we're very spoiled and pampered. Like, go to any of these fan companies, like, I don't know, go to Facebook or go to a LinkedIn campus or whatever. They have car mechanics, a haircut guy, a babysitter, a dog sitter, a dog groomer, all of these things just to keep you at your job. So we have perks like no surgeon who studied for 15 years has any of these perks. He goes to the parking lot and he's like, oh, my parking spot is taken today, whatever. 15 years of medical school, right? And we're treated like rock stars. We're scared of change even when we're offered to be part of the change, okay? So what do I mean by that? Like back in the day when we were doing jQuery at one of the first companies I worked for, I gave a presentation on Angular, and I told the senior engineers, like, hey guys, we would be very efficient if we move from jQuery to Angular. This was there, this was there, this went somewhere. I pressed the wrong button, all right. This was their reaction. This is the senior team at that company. They were tired, they were older guys. They were like, oh, for fuck's sake, this young kid with his fucking Angular and whatever. Same thing happened when we wanted to move in another company from Angular to React. Same engineers, they were like, oh, please. And the difference is, we were giving them the option to be part of this change. Hey guys, you can learn Angular, React, you can be part of us. We can just code. Now we're super scared because for the first time it feels we're not being offered to be part of the change. You can see the future where for now it's like, hey, I'm Copilot, I'm your best friend, we're gonna code together, fuck off, like pushes your chair, right? Eventually you're gonna be pushed on the side. So we, of course, we rage, we riot, and we call it garbage, it's not gonna get there, it's not good at things. So, of course, there's nothing that AI can do to actually impress us. We're just blinded and scared by just losing our stability that we have. This has been my heart rate. Every time OpenAI opens their freaking mouth on Twitter, like introducing the new thing that might take your job. And like immediately I call my wife, and this has been my wife for every OpenAI announcement. I'm like, hey, so all my startups are gone and now people are gonna use chatbots and we're all screwed. And she's like, can AI take your job so you can be around the home more? So she just cannot wait for AI to actually take my job so I can shut up about this. Devs have valid arguments. I would say a lot of these arguments are valid. We have, but AI code quality is bad. It might replace the coding, but what about the other parts? It will create new jobs. AGI is years away. Like we need AGI to replace our rectangles, right? AGI will replace some surgeon at some point, but for painting things with React, normal AI would do. So let's just dissect them one by one. But AI code quality is bad. To be fair, this is not fair. It learned from us, right? This is like sending a Tesla to learn to drive in the Balkan and then be like, but why does it cross a double lane and why does it park there when there's no parking? It's not fair. Learn from us. It's going to learn to be better eventually. Our code is bad. And to be fair, the code is getting better. So don't act like maybe it was bad in the beginning, now it's getting better. Second, the audacity of a front-end developer, I'm not saying program, or a front-end developer to say, but what about the other parts? Let's dissect the other parts of your job. They're not coding. You're spending 20 freaking hours in meetings where you're silent for the entire call, probably scrolling social media, playing Flappy Bird, whatever, and the only word you utter at the end of the meeting, nothing for me, I'm good. Bye guys, see ya. 20 hours of your week spent on that. Be honest. Coding and refactoring for fun. We're all doing this. Don't give me smirks in the audience like, yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I wasted like 20 company hours on this. Like when we were working for a client, we got so bored at a point that I pitched the CTO, how about we tell them that GraphQL is required so we can learn GraphQL as we're working on this project so we have more fun. CTO agreed, the client agreed. We got paid money for basically playing around. And all of you have done this. toying with editors and setup all freaking day, changing the theme, changing the font, changing the thing, buying a font. We're buying fonts, colors, all sorts of shit all day long, playing with that. Next, we have thinking. I swear to God, this is not a joke. I had a colleague in the past who was working with clients, like he was a freelancer. He was booking thinking time when he was going on a walk. He's like, what, bro? I'm thinking about the project very hard. He didn't tell that to the client, but he was literally booking thinking time. That's how much spoiled we are. Scrolling social media, playing games, watching movies. My wife had a colleague, she came home and she's like, this guy watched the entire movie of Spider-Man 2 at work. The entire freaking movie, not even a YouTube short, the entire freaking movie. Posting on TikTok, you all know those videos like Day in a Life in LinkedIn. They're having 7 breakfasts. They're like, hey guys, here's my day, I still haven't started coding, so I'm gonna have a breakfast and I'm kinda hungry, I'm gonna go have a second breakfast, and they have chefs and all of that. I don't see any coding part in those videos, just like living an influencer life right there. We do project management, AKA, hey, did you do that? Yup. Did you close the ticket? No. That's the project management we're doing all day long. Client communication, AKA rolling your eyes at the person who's literally paying you. You're like, oh, what do they want now? Everyone has done that, right? You're a remote worker, you're getting a call and you're like, oh, kill me, I need to get paid for my work. I don't know, like right now, call any remote worker that you know who's working from home. It's like working hours, right? They should be working right now. Ask them to do anything, to go fishing. If someone says no, I'll close my laptop and I'll never give this talk ever again. Tuesday, 2 p.m., you call them, hey bro, you wanna go bowling? Oh yeah, sure, I'm free. It's 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, what are you doing? So I don't know people who are actually working as a remote worker, and even in offices, like office workers are creatively finding ways to not do work. This might look to the people in the back like an Outlook client, but if you zoom in, it's a Reddit client masked to look like Outlook so you can browse Reddit while it looks like you're reading emails at work. So we're actively trying not to work. These are the other parts of your job, collaborating with designers. What does this mean? A designer spending 2 months on working on the most beautiful prototype animation thingy for 5 seconds of your time to be like, no bro, we can't code that, that's too complex. That's the other parts of our job, right? We have the second argument, but every change, every revolution, blah, 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 it will just create new jobs, right? Yeah, but that you're not qualified for. We are not qualified for. I'm sorry. Sometimes you gotta tell people the harsh truth. People are like, yeah, bro, but who will code the AI? Not you. Not us, not front-end developers. There was a great joke by Chris Rock on his Netflix special where he was sitting in the parent-children meeting auditorium with like a bunch of kids, and the teacher was like, all of you can be whatever you want in life, and you can be surgeons, doctors, and whatever. Don't let your dreams be stopped, blah, blah, blah. And Chris Rock was looking at them, and he's like, motherfucker, I see those kids, like 50% of them are going to be Uber drivers. So people don't want to be told the harsh truth that not the front-end developers are not going to be coding the AI, and they're not going to be prepared for a new job. Now, more sharp truth, and I belong to the second group, code plumbers, before we get offended. Right now, there's a big difference between these two. So, to be fair, AI replacing programming is a little bit of a bigger scope, it's like a bigger thing, so it might be a little bit far away. Replacing web developers, front-end developers especially, there are like maximum 7 real programmers here, right? They know the college degree, master's, doctorate, they know math, algorithms, a bunch of other stuff. The rest of us, we're code plumbers. Just deal with it, it's easier if you deal with it. We haven't read a book, we know nothing about patterns, like we don't like writing docs and comments, no clue about math, 0 algorithm knowledge. We're just trying to get by, right? This is all of our journey. This is my journey and probably the journey of like at least 80% of people here. You pirated Photoshop when you were 12 years old. Don't smirk, don't laugh, you know it's true. You've been designing some glossy buttons and tutorial, yada, yada, yada. You tried front page and Dreamweaver because it was drag and drop, and you tried to export something. You dabbled in Flash. You bought a shady domain that ended with for like $1. Then you bought some shady hosting that was like shared and served ads on top of your website. Somehow you learned WordPress and miraculously set it up. You cobbled together some HTML, CSS, jQuery from some tutorials, dragged it into FileZilla, uploaded. Fast forward a little bit, you're getting a FANG job, getting paid $300K. That's our coding journey, right? That's how we got here. The years have passed by, we read some tutorials for sure, tweets were our real education, and suddenly we're here getting overpaid because the entry barrier is low. The surgeon has to study 15 freaking years until he gets to a job that's like, okay, no perks, basically the salaries, whatever. We need 1 boot camp and 3 Udemy tutorials. And we get a job and we walk around like we're gods. We're like, yeah, bro, like the best job ever. So people try to cope with this and they try to find the dumbest excuses. They're like, yeah, but whatever happened to the crypto hype? Whatever happened to NFTs, the metaverse? We find irrational arguments because none of this makes sense. And also, to be honest, the hype has gotten a little bit crazy. It's gotten a little bit out of hand because, come on, Logitech now has an AI mouse. AI mouse. The blue button, do you know what it does? Launches ChatGPT. That's stupid. So of course people will confuse this with the crypto hype and the NFT hype. This is one of the valid arguments that I wanted to, that it made me want to include a second part of my talk, right? People say like, said a week ago, 4 days ago, people said, LLMs have reached a plateau. Like, there's nothing we can go from here. It's going to take years for GPT-5 or a better model. Bro, you don't know how LLMs work. Fundamentally, and I'm like, I don't need to know fundamentally. I don't need to know internally how LLMs work and stuff. I know that billions are being poured in this right now, and we don't even know what's the next thing that's going to emerge. I don't know, but I know it's not going to stop here, right? So the two-part talk was supposed to be like, hey, pro AI, this is getting crazy, and 50%, don't worry, AI is getting dumb. Until I was on a family vacation these days, like I'm here with my family, with my daughter, with my wife, and I was chilling, and I'm like, let me just open Twitter before I finish this talk. And these, 2 days ago, I need to change my entire freaking talk because of this thing. Introducing OpenAI o1 preview. Why is it preview? Because they have a more powerful model internally, and they had to release like a constrained preview model for people to use. So we don't even know what they have in the pipeline. What else are they coming with? So interesting thing is all the, basically how I did my research is about the anti-AI part. What are they saying about LLMs not evolving? The research part was me watching YouTube and then telling ChatGPT to summarize over everything that I watched on YouTube. And every YouTuber who went from like, LLMs are done, suddenly 1 month later, 1 month hasn't passed. It went from, no, LLMs are done to, oh fuck, we're screwed. 1 month. Imagine like 2 years, 5 years, 7 years. I'm assuming you would still want a job, right? The most mind-blowing part of me, like, yeah, this is doing some whatever technologies in order to make this new jump in LLMs. But this highlighted part, thinking before they respond, is blowing my mind. Why? Because most humans don't. You know 7 people in your life that are dumber than ChatGPT 3. Not 4, not 4.5, not o1, GPT 3. Most people don't think. So, a bunch of, this is a tweet. They did some IQ test, and it's like now smarter than most people. How is this not scaring us? I don't know. Like most people just don't even think before they talk. There's like zero thinking. They just would say anything. They would do anything. People climbing crates on TikTok. They're like, yeah, bro, let's do it. What if I break my bones? Shoving cinnamon in your mouth. NyQuil chicken. Cutting off your mask. During COVID, we saw like peak human stupidity, and we're comparing it to AI models. Of course, it's smarter than us. Some O1 examples that I managed to get right now, literally before getting on stage, because things are changing so much that you cannot keep up with this shit. So it can do it can know how many letters are in the word straw. But this is the most impressive test, and it's still failing in like 10-20% of the time. That's crazy. Crushing elite code on hard mode, medium, whatever. Most people cannot do elite code. I even learned what is elite code a few months ago. A bunch of other benchmarks and tests and numbers and whatever. Oh my God, it's the best at a lot of things. Like literally 3 days ago, we were discussing that's the end of LLMs. They're not going to get smarter. And suddenly we have a huge jump in computation, math, algorithms, whatever this thing is thinking about. People creating an app, iOS app, in like under 10 minutes. Now it's like, if you don't know what O1 is, if you're new to this, because it's literally from 2 days ago, now the model can think before it responds. So instead of just going, like you asking ChatGPT something and immediately like blabbing like it knows something, now it's thinking. And sometimes it might even think for like 90 seconds, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and then it gives you like a full answer. Like it's trying to evaluate within itself like how to solve the problem. And it's way better at problem solving. Next we have whatever. Some cybersecurity things that were not possible before, now are possible before. Creating an entire chess game with an AI opponent option. Just from one, like you write the prompt, it thinks a bit, and it just bam, spits out the game. There's so many of these games, like some person who said, I don't even know he didn't even know what is JavaScript, so he called this a game in HTML, so he doesn't know the underlying technology, just stole ChatGPT o1 and made that 3D game, or a 3D snake, or whatever. Like most of us, let's be honest, we cannot just go and code a 3D snake. So I gave you enough examples, and I cannot tell you if AI will actually take your job, and when it's going to take your job. It's just, as I said, this talk is not going to convince you that it's going to. I just give you enough arguments, and you just conclude by yourself. So what is next? We have another programming layer. Like we're in between the client requirements and like React, JavaScript, and all of that. It's us right there, translating all of that into code. Now it's going to be us plus a little bit of Copilot, a little bit of Super Maven. Eventually they're going to push us aside until that layer is just replaced purely by AI because of reasons mentioned beforehand. I agree with this tweet. This is not an AI grifter. This is not a person who has an AI course. He's actually a programmer that I respect. He said that more than 95% of his code today is now AI generated where the input is plain English. I don't agree. Mine wouldn't be like 95%, but I would say more than 50%. Like I'm using tab-driven development, like Super Maven just giving me suggestion and I just tab through them, or Claude or whatever one of these models just auto-completing things. Prompting is the new Google foo, and if you don't know what is Google foo, it's basically your skill and ability to use Google search. I think that's what differentiated like programmers from like good programmers. That like the programmers don't know how to search on Google for what are they looking for. So if someone pings you on Slack and you're like, oh, this is so easy, because your Google foo is better, you find the solution easier. Now prompting is basically a new thing. If your prompts are good, if you know how to tell the AI what to do, you're gonna be better than a programmer who are just like manually writing code or don't know how to prompt things. The evolution of AI in coding, what happened is when ChatGPT came out, we used to prompt it, then it would give us things, we would copy paste it, and it was very cumbersome and tedious. Then we have Claude with artifacts, which as you're giving it prompts, you can see on the right side a rendering of the HTML and Tailwind and a bunch of other things. So you can literally make a functional app, and you can look at it without copy pasting it everywhere. Anywhere. V0 from Vercel now has installing components, which is similar to Claude, and once you generate a component with V0, you have a CLI command to install it within your project automatically. So we're shortening that time of like from copy pasting to like making it available in your project. And Cursor, which is basically a VS Code fork, like a modified VS Code for AI, has something called Composer, which the Composer can actually modify multiple files, and it can create new files, and it can delete files all from one prompt. So you give it a prompt, and boom, it does all sorts of things. So this is evolving, and let me not be sarcastic. It's not going to stop here. It's obviously not going to stop here, and we're going to move on to next steps. Like, there's going to be new IDEs, there's going to be new frameworks and languages, because right now AI has to work with our idiotic creations, like whatever we have created, but eventually we would have to create something for the AI to be better at creating things instead of using our things. You can see like Z editor, basically, which was a new editor that came around recently. Now they're also pivoting in a direction. They're going to add a bunch of AI functionalities. WebStorm has added a bunch of AI functionalities. Like even new IDE is going to be created. As I was creating these slides yesterday, I read this tweet. This was at 8:13 p.m. before I went to bed. That SuperMaven, one of these autocomplete companies, they're basically raising millions to make their own editor. So everyone is going to try to compete in this space, and editor is going to be better and better and better. And if you're just stuck in, I don't know, Vim and whatever, and you're like, no, I'm going to write my own code. I'm never going to let AI. You're just going to be left behind. I cannot wait for this next step when we have like beyond the IDE. Like we're going to get new, like right now, IDEs are scary to like regular people, and if you want to create something, you still have to deal with VS Code and NPM and a bunch of Node and a bunch of other things. But eventually, we have like a higher level service which lets the AI like create databases and create these things and authentication and whatever, but all with one service instead of trying to go to AWS and then the AI unplugging itself when it just sees what AWS is. The cool thing is you don't need coding knowledge to work with this layer. So we have a new layer, and people. I saw literally a clip of an 8-year-old. Like creating a Harry Potter chatbot without her knowing. She didn't even know what is coding. She didn't know what is VS Code. She just followed instructions, used Cursor, and in like few minutes she had a functional Harry Potter chatbot. An 8-year-old. What did I know at 8 years old? It's crazy. Thinkers can now code. So regular humans won't care about this. Like most people who don't create stuff, like nothing is going to change for them. But there's so many people who are using like Notion and Coda and Zapier and no-code tools. Like they want to be programmers and they have ideas and they try to scrape them together in Notion and in other tools. But what scares them is the command line. They get to the command line like, oh, fuck, they stop there. Now the gate's going to open for them and they can just freely create whatever we want. So you're like, for fuck's sake, okay, kids, what should I do about this? You told us your journey, yada, yada, yada. What should you do about this? So my general advice is use AI all the time. Like, seriously, we're past the point of doubting it. Try to combine any of these tools, SuperMaven, V0, Claude, whatever, combine them to be a better developer. My experience so far was praising Copilot in my conference talk, but I wasn't using it because I was hypocritical. Then ChatGPT came out. It made me use Copilot. And I'm like, okay, this is lame. ChatGPT is better. But now I understand Copilot and SuperMaven are basically glorified autocompletes, and use them as such. Don't expect them to write super complex code. You can use them as glorified autocompletes. I use this for brainstorming and code generation. I implemented some basic AI in Benji before JSON mode was a thing. It's very hard to tell these models to give you back JSON, even in the structure mode. They're going to find ways to give you Markdown. Like there's no way to tell them, hey, give me JSON or else. You have to threaten them, and eventually they will return you JSON. I hate it on SuperMaven because like only GitHub can do something like Copilot. Turns out SuperMaven is mind-blowing and really good. Claude's on it with artifacts helped me so much in prototyping. Like I have an idea, and instead of starting to code it, I go to Claude, and I can iterate on like 17 prompts and 17 versions until I have what I want. And then maybe I write some manual code in the end. But the iteration process has gotten crazy. And I'm finally toying with V0 by Vercel, which I dismissed as whatever. Vercel wants to cache grab. But like, there's this example of generating a full music app with literally loading audio files and playing and whatever, strictly in V0, no manual code at all. I'm switching. Like, this is a big statement. If you know me, I've been a big fan of WebStorm for like 10 plus years, and I've been a big hater of VS Code for 10 plus years equally. And I decided last week to pay for Cursor Pro for a year, uninstall WebStorm, and work only in Cursor, which is a fork of VS Code. Because like I want to be part of the new feature, I'm going to learn the VS Code thingies, and I'm moving on to this. It gets even better if you use dictation. So you can use this app called WhisperFlow or Super Whisper. You hold the FN button on your keyboard, and you just, because the prompts are giant and you're going to get exhausted from typing, and you just speak with voice, and you feel like Tony Stark and Jarvis, if Jarvis was from AliExpress. But it's cool. All right, what else can I do? A few more slides. I know I'm taking like a few more minutes, but I'm going to wrap up here. If you want to keep your job in programming, like programming in general, I think in the next 5, 10 years, like more jobs are going to be created where you need like serious programming, languages, algorithms, machine learning, AI development, etc. If you want to keep a job in programming. If you're an indie hacker, now is your time to shine. You can integrate AI in your products. They're going to sell more. You can quickly iterate on new ideas, and you can move faster than entire teams. So that's cool. General advice that I wish I could follow is just save some money, invest some money. And trust me, nobody knows what's going to happen. I'm rambling here on stage like I know, but I'm just guessing. I'm just throwing stuff around, you know. And final slide and final general advice, don't be an idiot and buy one of these things. Why? Because for 10 years, you've been rude to Google, Alexa, and Siri. And these things will have access to your kitchen and knives. So just do the math there. Thank you for listening to my talk. And don't be scared. We'll be fine for like a few more years. All right. Thank you.